My father imparted 3 bits of wisdom to me. He taught me a lot of things, but the 3 that he actually sat down and told me were, you pay and then you play, leading me to believe he read a lot of financial planning books and Dr. Seuss. The second bit of wisdom thankfully didn't rhyme. It was the day before I started college, a community college right across the street, basically. He said, when you get there, why don't you look around and see what everybody's wearing, and then you could start dressing a little more like them. Third piece of advice had to do with the bubble. Now, the bubble, my dad explained, is this protective shield, specifically that covers you when you're traveling. I was about to embark on a Volkswagen van journey down through Mexico, all just as far south as I could go. So my dad figures he should give me some travel advice, and that is talking about the bubble, because obviously he had done so well with the other 2 bits of advice. Now, the bubble is this protection that if you stay within the resort towns populated by Americans, then bad things won't happen to you because you're in the bubble. And if something bad does happen, you can be assisted because there's so many Americans around, right? The bubble. But if you step outside of this bubble, if you cross this mysterious membrane, bad things will happen. And there's nothing anybody can or will do about it because all the help you could get is inside the bubble. Now, I don't disagree with this theory. I mean, there is some validity to that. But as he tried to convince me to stay inside the bubble, I was growing more and more convinced to get outside the bubble. Because I think at that point, I just finished squatting in England for a couple of years, and I was all about outside the bubble living, because outside the bubble, that's where life is, right? Inside the bubble, it's just people bringing you drinks and charging them to your room. So I fire up the Volkswagen van eventually, and I've got 2 friends with me, and we start driving. We start driving south through Mexico, and it's great. It's great outside the bubble stuff. We're avoiding this mysterious bubble, and we drive and drive for weeks and months, and we get to the southernmost tip of Mexico down, and we're going to cross into Guatemala, because Guatemala is so outside the bubble. I mean, come on, it's like Central America, and we're going for it. And we get to Guatemala, and we pull into Guatemala City, and just really within about 30 seconds of being in Guatemala City, we get pulled over by the police. Now, we'd been stopped by kids with machine guns and stuff all through Mexico. It sort of started getting to be commonplace. You know, you hang out, you give them cigarettes, no big deal. But there's something a little bit different in Guatemala. Cops pulled me out of the car, and he's looking at my papers, and he's saying, you know, this is not your van. This is a stolen van. This is not your license. This is not you or your van. And you're not wearing shoes, which he was true about. But it's Guatemala. Can't you drive without shoes? So he's making it very clear that I'm in a lot of trouble. Come with me, he says. You're in a lot of trouble. We're going to go to the police station. Follow us. So, okay, this is, it never gone this far. And so we're following the cop car in Guatemala. And he pulls over. Clearly nowhere near a police station because we're next to a big empty field. Like the sort of big empty field you would think if you wanted to take someone out and shoot them in the back of the head, this would be a good place to do it. And I was pretty clear that that's what was about to happen. I mean, he had led me. I mean, it was just perfect. Come with me, get out. He gets out. I'm thinking, the field shot, it's going to happen. Now, there's, the saying, of course, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get you, right? Well, that expression has a flip side, which is if you're paranoid enough, it doesn't matter what they're planning on doing. It's pretty real, right? So I don't know what this guy's intentions were, but I was pretty clear that he was going to shoot me and my friends in the back of the head, take my really cool van, and drive off and put it with the rest of the vans, or whatever's going to happen. So I'm there. So I'm trying to enjoy my remaining few seconds of life. It's like, the air's nice, and my Spanish isn't very good, and under these sort of stressful situations, it was a little bit worse. So he tells me again, it's not your van, it's not your license, and then he says in perfect English, $20. I'm like $20? That's like $8.50 each. That's $8.50 to not get shot in the back of the head and buried. Because it's true, you can really find great values when you travel to certain countries. So I give him $20. I don't bother to ask for a receipt, even though I figure this is probably tax deductible, right? So we're on. So Guatemala is clearly established as a place that's a little bit different than where we had been. So there's a place out on the coast, a little town we want to go to, but we had heard that it's kind of dodgy there, so we thought we'd better go to an actual tourist bureau there in the city and ask about it. And the guy said, yeah, it's cool to go here, but this road, it's like this. We had like a road, like a placemat as a road map or something. You know, we were so clueless. And you can drive this road, but don't drive it at night. No, really, you don't want to drive this road at night. It's through the jungle. There's he's showing us something, a lot of guerrilla activity here and insurgents and fighting and militia and rebels and stuff. Don't drive this road at night. Okay, cool. So we're leaving, and he's actually calling it. Okay, bye. Don't drive that road at night. So we're driving the road at night. Terrified, because I wasn't out there looking for some sort of trouble. Just, our schedule was way off. So we're driving this horrifying jungle road with jungle on either side in Guatemalan moonless night. And we're sort of get up behind this logging truck, and we're rumbling along. And this logging truck in front of us stops in the middle of the jungle. And it's like, what's going on? He stops for a while. So hang on, I'll get out. And I just sort of look out the door, and I look around, and a big tree is falling right on the road. That's how they do it, right? I mean, I've seen movies. So a big tree, they cut the tree down in front of the road, and they come and grab you out of your van and take you away and brainwash you and make you fight in their cause. And before I know it, I'm going to be like fighting some cause I don't understand. And not just because I don't speak Spanish, because I don't know anything about the military industrial history of Guatemala. I'm just there for the cheap hippie clothes. And as I get back in the van, I close the door and roll up the window like that's going to help. And I swear, I can see them like crawling out of the jungle, like with the helmets and the bushes in them and camo in their face. And I know we're done for. But that paranoia passed after a few seconds, and I realized it was just other trees that I saw. But I was terrified because I knew, they're out there somewhere, they're coming. And I say to my friends, there's a tree down. It's going to take about an hour to get this tree out. And that's if somebody has a chainsaw. Now, the reason I said this is because my brain had already made its way back to the bubble. Because in the bubble of my father's Southern California confines, if a branch were to fall from a tree in the yard, it would need to be properly processed, right? This means cutting it in 3-foot segments, stripping off all the little branches, bundling them up, because they have to be set by the roadside so the trash man will pick them up. And if they're too long, then they won't. So it's a time-consuming thing, and I'm thinking, well, how are we going to do this? We don't have a chainsaw. I don't even have any twine in the van. So, and even if we do manage to do it, there's no way we're going to do it before the rebels get here. Because they can't be far. I mean, the tree's down. So, another car pulls up this way, and I see the lights, and I think, all right, maybe it's going to be okay. I need to get out and see what's going on. I walk up, and by the time I get past this truck, the 2 guys with machetes had already hacked all the way through this big tree. And just as I'm walking up there, they're taking the tree and moving each half, to the side of the road, and they kind of glance at me thinking, like, dude, why are you here? This is their own sort of personal Highway 82. They're just commuting home after night. It's just what they do. And everybody starts their car and drives away. I get back in the van, and they're like, why did you think that was going to take an hour? I was like, I'll explain later, when I'm not so embarrassed. And everyone starts their car, and we all drive off into our respective places in the jungle. Just another typical night outside of the bubble. Thank you. Thank you.